don't worry. We're just going to set things up, okay?
Sono Vasile Muraro, ci
we don't start until we start.
Radio Shalom.
So guys, hi, good day. In a couple of minutes, maybe even let's say 3 minutes, I will be on with Gavin Remedios from Mumbai. So give us a couple of minutes till we just get the audience coming in and share the links. Till then, enjoy the music. Gavin, I will share you the link right now for the live. So feel free to share this link wherever you want to. You can hear me, right, Gavin?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I just sent it to you.
Where we send it?
On Messenger, on Facebook. Is that good for you? Is that okay with you? Did you get it?
Yeah.
Have a plan of motorway. Travel my way, take the highway, that's the best. Get your kicks on Route 66. Well, it winds from Chicago to LA.
Just let me know when you're ready. Who's the handsome man behind you?
Structural audit.
Audit? Okay. I hope your all books are clean, yeah? You're all okay, right?
Yeah. I know, apparently there was some building that came down yesterday.
Ah, yeah, I heard. Bruce, right? Someone called Bruce.
Yeah. So we are also, because this building is like 40 years old. Okay, I've shared it on my Facebook.
Yeah, please. Tell me when you're ready.
Yeah, I'm good.
Finish. Let me know when you finish sharing so that we can start. So I'll turn on the camera as well.
Done. You can start.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to see that I'm looking handsome on screen as well. I don't want people to get scared and run away and stuff. Supposedly the camera is started.
Well, if you have a plan of motorway, travel my way, take the highway, that's the best. Get your kicks on Route 66. Well, it winds from Chicago to LA, more than 2,000 miles all the way. Get your kicks on Route 66.
Okay.
Joplin, Missouri, Oklahoma City looks so pretty. See Amarillo and Gallup, New Mexico. Flagstaff, Arizona, don't forget Winona, Kingman, Barstow, San Bernardino, won't you get hip the timely trip? Where you made that California trip.
Nice setup, yeah.
Yeah, right. Thanks, buddy. But well, this is what I just want to know if yeah, good. Okay, this is great. All right, so let's get started. So good afternoon, should I say, happy midday to everybody from me, Uran. I'm coming to you live from Bucharest, Romania, and this is from my broadcast, Uran Alive. Today I have a very special guest that's coming in from Mumbai, India. So a little history, right? So I got to know this guy in one of our common tuition classes for math. I think, I don't think it was for science, but I'm sure it was for math. And he was called as Gavin. I think that's the way your name was pronounced by everyone. But it was great to come to know him. And today he's doing something really amazing. And I thought that I should definitely get on board so that we can get to hear what and how he is doing today. So let me just give a little intro, and let's see who is Gavin Remedios from Mumbai, India. Gavin is an alumni of National Institute of Design and JJ School of Art, and he has spent the last 15 years working at the intersection of design, people, and technology. He is a design leader in the experience design practice at KPMG, integrating design into management consulting space. He's also a co-founder of Design New Life Education Private Limited. Gavin's work is greatly influenced by sports, behavioral design, and in his spare time, he enjoys mentoring students, illustrating, and basketball. This is fantastic intro, Gavin. Welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, Gavin, before we really get into what do you do, how do you do, tell us, how did you come about where you are today? Give us a little brief up.
I think I'll go all the way back for this.
Definitely.
And basically, there were 3 stages, right, for me to come here. And the first stage was in school, taking an interest in a subject like design. It's not something that everyone is used to, because we're always guided to move into a direction that has more professional opportunities, right?
Definitely.
Fortunately for me, I had great support both in school with my teachers and as well as my parents, who never really raised any objections to me pursuing a career in design, right? And although at that time it was architecture that I was focused on, it eventually, after completing my 12th, when we hung out and post that period, I actually got into commercial art at JJ School of Art. And it was a course that I was enjoying a great deal. Post that, I got a job at Steve & Barry's, which was a apparel design company, right? And it was probably at that point my dream job, right? So it utilized something that I loved in school, which was sports, and something that I had been studying all my life to pursue, which was design. And I brought both those things together and said that, okay, here's a job for you. Here's something where you can live your passion about sports and design, design apparel, design t-shirts, build brands for sportswomen. And I was there for 4 years. Literally, I loved it so much. I didn't think about moving on, or trying something new at that point in time, which is actually a crucial junction, because you want to get as many experiences under your belt in the first few years so that you understand the whole landscape of what you're working with, right?
Absolutely.
Having said that, I think by the second year, I knew that I wanted to do something more, right? And while I enjoyed the work that I was doing, there were times when I looked around and I saw people who were senior to me essentially doing the same thing that I was doing. And that got me thinking that, where will I be in another 5 years' time?
Like, where will you fit? Was the question like, where will you fit? Or you think there are too many people, or suspect you're looking for a particular niche?
No, it wasn't about too many people. It was just like, let's say that there was somebody who was probably, I was 23, 24 at that time. And there were people who were 40 who were doing the exact same work that I was doing.
Right.
Now, the advantage that I had was that I was quicker, because we were new to software and, we grew up with that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
While the older people who were designers had moved from doing things with hand and then slowly trying to adapt to software, right? So there was a learning curve for them. So I had already surpassed them in many ways, apart from, like a salary quotient. And it didn't seem like there was much learning for me to do at that point in time, at least in the organization that I was. Maybe if I changed my organization, I'm sure there would have been. Right?
Okay.
So that's when I started questioning what's next. And I kind of identified NID as my next stop, right? Which was going to be me transitioning from a designer into doing something more. Right. And before I explain that, let me just take you back to what kind of design I was doing, right? So while I enjoyed the design that I was doing those 4 years at Stephen Barry's, it was primarily aesthetics, right? I was an illustrator, a graphic designer. You know, I would be told to make t-shirts or t-shirt lines, and that was selling based on how attractive those t-shirts were.
Right. So on the very creative side, I understand.
Correct. Right.
Okay.
But I wanted a little more purpose to it, right? Because there was so it was more like me being an artist, basically, right? Me making a painting and selling that. That was the role that I was doing. So I got into this course at NID, and that began my second transition as such, which was more into the people aspect of design. The course that I did, which was strategic design management, it was a new course. I think there were only 2 batches that had previously done it. And it wasn't like they were promising you the world, or that these are the opportunities after that, or anything on that nature. It was just an open-ended course that felt like this was the place to explore and understand some attributes of things that I probably didn't know. And more importantly, things that I didn't know that I didn't know. Right.
Okay. So where did this course guide you? What did it open your opportunities to? Or let's say what you did come to know in the end?
So the core of this course was that as a designer, you are not designing for yourself. You're designing for people. Right.
Point taken.
And that means that people are the center of everything that you do. It's not about how much you like your work. It's about how much other people like it, because you're designing for their needs, for their usage, right?
Okay.
So that is what it introduced me to, and what it opened my eyes to, right? The people aspect, understanding how you can influence behavior, change behavior, but more than anything, design something keeping people's behavior in mind, right? So if you look at it, this course also happened to coincide when the Apple iPhone was launched in 2008, right? So I'd just gone to college at that time, and then this whole world was exploding with the App Store and what people could now do on a phone with, so many different applications. And I think user experience is just one of those proponents that uses the science of understanding people's behavior as well as the science of design, to effectively do something.
Okay.
So that's where the course guided me. And then I further enhanced that knowledge at a company called Final Mile, which was a behavioral architecture company. So they actually specialized in just understanding behavior and trying to decode why we do the things that we do, which was a great learning experience for me. I was there for a year and a half. Then I moved on to Future Group, which again looked at, so I joined an idea and incubation cell at Future Group, and they focused more on India's consumption behavior and India's behavioral habits, right? So they said that while, you might have done something with Final Mile, which was more from a holistic perspective, we're focusing and we're narrowing it down to what India does, because we're a large retailer that's going to sell products in India.
Yeah.
So I was doing that for a couple of years, and then again, I was questioning, looking at the whole landscape, zooming in, zooming out, and trying to see what is it that I'm missing. And I felt that, given the way that the world is moving, technology is the biggest differentiator. And look at what we're doing today. Today, I'm having a call with you from Mumbai, you're in Romania, and we've probably got people from all over the world listening, right? So
right.
That was the differentiator. So I said that, whatever I've understood in my past, whether it's design as a graphic designer, the last few years, 5 years, in understanding how it can help people and help you design things for people.
Right. I find this very interesting. Yeah, go on.
And then you put both those two things together with technology. That's really what you have you have the ultimate, the ultimate recipe.
The recipe, right?
Right, for actually creating an impact, right?
Cool.
So that's where I started with
Mm-hmm.
KPMG. We were a 2-member team at that time. I joined, I was executing projects. I had another colleague who was in charge of business development, and how to influence behavior, but more of how it is culturally distinct to India, right? So I'll give you an example. I had done one study where I was just told to go into the market and click pictures. I mean, you might like this actually, since
So when you
love
say
shopping.
market, you mean just a food market, like a bazaar,
just
like the bazaar? Okay.
just food market.
Others would think like the market, like the stock exchange. I don't know. So
No.
just not done. I wanted to be clear. Okay, go on. Yeah.
Just a food market. Click pictures, okay?
Right.
And tell a story through those pictures, right? Of what I've understood through those pictures. So I had observed different things of how people sell, how they keep fruits fresh, right? By watering them. Those are things that we try to replicate and put into the actual stores, because a store is an AC place, right?
Right.
Where you're selling, if you're selling fruits and vegetables in a store, how do you take those behaviors of the marketplace and include those behaviors into a mall or a shopping mart, so that people still feel comfortable in their way of shopping, right? So the way Indian shoppers behave, they don't necessarily look for things in shelves. They're always looking down, right? Because you see those fruit tailors and everything is down.
Right. They're always sitting down on the pavement. Right. Yeah.
Right.
Good point there.
So it was really about just taking all these pictures, putting them together, trying to decode what are those things that we could actually use to help our retail stores do well, right? Because all these things have to feed into Future Group's retail propositions, right?
Okay.
So
go on.
Those were things, like how abundance attracts, how tasting, helps you with this endowment effect of actually feeling like, okay, I really like it. Maybe I'm induced to buy it, right?
Okay.
So introducing something like a tasting menu or something within a store.
So I wanted to understand one thing, right? So you did this project, took the photos to see how it would, or how would people adapt to the mall, and were these photos helpful, or how were they helpful?
No, I just went.
They have any impact?
I just went on a ethnographic photo tour. Okay, let me just put it that way. Okay, clicking various pictures of different stalls, different stores, seeing how people are eating, seeing where people eat, how people sit down on the stairs and eat.
Right.
And then I started, collating those things together to kind of try and see what insights we could extrapolate, which would be useful for our mall structures.
And did we find any correlation over here with today's mall structures in India? Okay, so let's hear that. Okay, if you have a few points, that'll be great to know.
So like I said, I think the way people look at food, right? We started introducing things that were kept down. So in the supermarket concept, we call these aisles and islands.
You're talking about the fruits and vegetables which are down, basically. Okay.
So you have your aisles, which people are open to looking at the shelves for. Those are called your aisles. And then you have your islands.
Okay.
Your islands are where people look down, right? So we were looking at how we can create places like that within the structure of the mall.
I see.
So your mall is an experience zone. And now you're taking some of those observations and putting it here.
Okay, fantastic. That's great. That's really cool. So Gavin, tell me a little bit about your role in KPMG, because I understood from what I'm not chatting on the phone. I'm referring to what to the points and pointers that we went through just before, so we know. I know exactly what questions to ask, because just like everybody else should know, this is every time I'm having a guest on the show, it's something they know that I don't know. And it's always a learning curve for me. I'm really learning something new, something different. And that's why I so much enjoy doing these broadcasts. And I hope you are as well, Gavin, though we're talking about you. So I'm sure you're enjoying. I hope so.
Yeah, so far so good, man.
so, Gavin, give me an example of, you were talking about integrate design into management consulting. So can you give us like a real life example with this to understand how that works?
So typically the management consulting space is a space where you have a fixed type of person who actually joins a consulting firm, right? And what do I mean by that? I mean that somebody who studied in a prominent B school would be a person who's most likely to get a job in a consulting firm, because they look at those type of individuals as a great selling point to their potential clients. Now, given the way that the world is right now, there are so many areas of interest and so many different specializations. So expecting one single MBA to be an expert in blockchain, or to be an expert in the digital space, or to be design architect or a technical architect, or to be a designer is not really possible, right? So when we went there and we started this design consultant practice within that firm, we were just saying that, look, design is a differentiator. Okay, if you guys don't understand it, let us start by working alongside some of your guys in some projects.
Okay.
Right? And let us see what we can excel in and what they can excel in. Right? So for example, I'll give you an example.
Yes.
Our first project was something where we actually had to do a digitization of a savings bank account process. Okay.
Digitalization of a savings bank process. Okay.
Yeah. So typically this would have been done, I mean, this is the way it would have been done for a consulting firm. They would have gone in, they would have understood the processes. They would have defined a new to-be process. And then they would have told the company, the client, to hire a technology vendor to build a digital solution. What we did.
Are we talking about the front end, the user interface, or the back end, or both of them, basically?
Both. Right?
Okay, right.
So what we did was we said that, look, we are going to be a part of that journey of understanding the process with you. Okay. We are going to come along with you on that journey. We are also going to try and understand it. And we are going to help you build at least the front end part of it, so that you have your proof of concept ready. Right.
Okay.
Now, so some of the ways that they would work, for example, would be reducing something called a maker-checker process. Okay. Where they would study the process and they would say that, okay, let's eliminate one or two of these people and thereby reduce the turnaround time of a person starting his account opening process and actually getting his account. By eliminating two people who have to oversee somebody else's work,
right,
we are reducing the timelines. Right.
Okay.
Now, when the project is a digitization of a savings account process, that hardly helps in the actual end outcome, because the end outcome is a digital account opening process. Right? Versus what the process people have actually done is they've just taken out two people who are eliminated. They've reduced two people from the manpower. But they have not really done anything for the account opening process. The account opening process is the form that the person has to fill, a digital form that a person has to fill. And if you actually have to reduce it, you have to reduce what are the components of that form. You don't have to reduce the people, right?
Yeah. You don't have to fill those papers, but in this case, it would be digital, I believe.
Yeah.
So that would be a good. So yeah, do stress on where did your work really come in, or your team's work came in here?
So ours came in highlighting that aspect, right? So there's that, this is a blind spot because people are so used to doing work in a certain way. That's the way they've always designed processes. They've always designed processes to eliminate people and say that, okay, now by eliminating these people, then we're pushing it to a digital solution. But the digital process has not been refined. And that is really where the customer is interacting. Now, another key insight that we had during this was that this entire form, I don't know if you ever filled any bank account form when you were here in India, but if you have, and if you remember it, you'd probably remember just signing on a dotted line somewhere and someone else fill in the form. Does it ring a
Usually,
bell?
I'm not really sure. I think I used to fill the form in front of the person. I think I used to fill in their address and the telephone number and my mother and my father, my age, and
Okay, you're like an exception to the rule.
probably it was all the way that back. I don't know, but
So most people just they just sign at the places that they're supposed to sign, and then there is somebody who is called an account acquisition manager who will go and fill in all those details. Right.
The only times I remember signing non-stop is when you're creating a new account in the bank.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
Because everything is on paper, everything is like written. All you need to do is don't read, just sign. Yeah, just sign.
That's exactly the process that I'm talking about, right?
All right. Okay, good.
So it's just the signing part, right? And that's what we realized. We said that the customers actually, even if you give them a digital form, they're not used to fill in a form. They've never filled a form. They only sign and they get an account.
Okay.
So always somebody else would actually fill in that form. So we changed the entire process to something where we capture the key details of the user through their identification cards. And then
in this case, it would be Aadhaar, I suppose.
Yeah, your Aadhaar.
Okay. Aadhaar. Okay.
And then your account acquisition manager, or the person who goes to get the accounts for each person, like the sales guy. He will come back to the bank and he will fill all the details based on those card details.
Okay. So
fantastic. The digital process ended up being not for the customer, but for this guy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that was an entire change in the conceptualization of the product that actually happened.
So are there banks today that are still working with the just manual to digital conversion, or are most of the banks adopted what you're saying today?
It depends on case to case. So some people still think that customers are going to fill, these 80 field forms, and we could break these fields down into some things that are easy for them to fill, some things that get filled automatically. And there are things that get filled automatically, like by capturing your Aadhaar details, all your address and all that can get auto-populated now.
Right.
But
okay.
There are still details that you will have to fill. And that's more than you had to fill when you were just signing on a paper. 1, 2, 3, 4 signatures done here.
Right.
Now somebody else should do the rest.
Okay. So at KPMG, is there anything new that is, I don't know if there is a project that you cannot talk about, but if you can, is there something that you would like to share on the latest project that you're working on? So
the latest one is really on building a user experience design center for the largest bank in India, right? Which has over 420 million customers.
Okay.
And the context of why this project started is because there was a need to get user experience into the forefront of this bank, because you had projects that were run in a very haphazard manner.
I see.
So what do I mean by that? Is that, let's say that you have a business requirement and you send that business requirement to the IT center of the bank. What the IT center will do is that they'll create an RFP and onboard a technology vendor and ask the technology vendor to develop that, right?
Can you just elaborate what is RFP for people that are not from India, maybe, or it's an international term?
Is it really? So RFP is a request for proposal, right?
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
And so typically a project team will send out a request for proposal. You will onboard a technology vendor. In this case, it could be anybody from the million technology vendors that India has, whether it's a TechM, TCS, Tech Mahindra, Infosys. It doesn't really matter. And each person would execute that, right? Now, when it came to the customers, or if you went to the Play Store or the Google Play app, you'd probably see 40, 50 different SBI apps, because each one was done by a different vendor. There was no standardization, right? It didn't seem like it was part of one brand, because it was all done in isolation. Business unit required something, IT vendor hired a partner, executed, shipped. And that's why this team of ours was created. It's a partnership between SPI and KPMG. And the partnership is to ensure that there is certain standardization, there's a system to the madness of all of this, right? And that's what we've been doing for the last few years.
Okay, that's nice. So guys, on my 145th broadcast, I have Gavin Remedios from India on the show, a co-founder of Design New Life, as well as a design lead at KPMG. If you have any kind of questions or queries that you would like to approach Gavin with, definitely come to your Ran Alive page, come through the broadcast and write in your comment into the chat, and I will see that. I will take it up. So Gavin, at the moment, I have Patricia Mascarenas wishing you way to go, Gavin, and God bless you. Proud of your great progress and success. So these are good wishes going out to you on the chat. Gavin, besides KPMG, like I mentioned, Design New Life, but even before we get into that, I understand, or tell us, how are you involved in the education space?
So the education space really is something that has happened more organically for me. I've, like how you said that you learned so much from having these engagements or talking to people. I've learned a great deal from students. Okay, I believe that students have been my greatest teachers.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. And every time I teach them, I'm energized. I feel that sense of that energy that, okay, it doesn't matter what's happened any day. I can spend about 2 hours, 4 hours with them. There's a new sense of life. There's a new sense of purpose. So
Absolutely.
I actually enjoyed it, right? And I mean, I've always enjoyed it. It's just that slowly building on one success after another, I've realized that maybe there is some potential for me to spread my wings in that space. And with each passing day, I have kind of done exactly that.
Okay, so so you're teaching in colleges and institutes, and what kind of subjects would that be on?
So they revolve around design only at the end of the day. While for some people it is about, what is the right path to take in design, or how do you choose your right college? Okay. How do you find your perfect job after that?
Do people come to you personally as a mentor, or it's in college? It's like it's a classroom session. How are these?
So in some cases they personally come to me. In some cases, there are classes that I conduct, and then at the same time, I also do my courses on user experience design, the subjects that I work around, right? So design thinking, user experience design, things of that nature.
Okay, that's really awesome. I like the point where you mentioned, Gavin, when you are teaching, you're actually learning from the students. And I would like to reflect on that, because a year and a half ago, with my previous job that I had, now I have another job that starts in another 1.5 hour, I think. I was a trainer for the sales team in Europe. And of course, you have the agenda of what you want to teach, what you want to bring out. Let's say it's objection handling for that day, or it's negotiation skills. But in the end of the day, all these salespeople are from different regions, and you have to just put the ball into their court. And then there's so much that can just learn from each other. So I would just want to put that, just wanted to highlight on that point, where it is true that you do get to learn a lot even from the students at that point. So that was a good point there. And also, besides teaching, Gavin, I understand that you are the co-founder of Design New Life.
Yep, that's another thing that happened organically.
How did you come about doing this? How did you come about this?
So it was.
And how many years has it been? Also, tell us.
It's actually been a couple of years now. It started out with me helping a friend who had who was trying to build an application. Okay, and he was struggling a little bit. He had all these ideas that he wanted to give so much to people, and he had put probably about 100, 200 features into an application and had built it. And it wasn't really doing so well. So he had reached out to me and said that, look, what is it that we can do to, improve this? And how do you think you can help me? So we just started from there organically, having conversations about this, about the topic, and I resonated with the topic, which was why I decided to help him, right? Because he said that this is about designing your life. And I said that why hasn't anybody really thought about something as powerful as that? That one line is so powerful because we focus so much of our life on one particular area, right? Like in some cases, you can say that, okay, I'm a fantastic mother, and that's awesome. You can be a fantastic mother. Some case you might say that I'm a fantastic boss or a fantastic leader or a great friend. But if you really look at your life, you're probably a great friend. You have to work at some capacity. You have a job as a spouse, as a parent. You wear multiple hats.
You're a multiple tasker. Yeah, true.
Yeah. So why can't people focus on that entire thing and start measuring the success of their life, not just by one area, but how well they're doing on multiple areas? Give your parenting skills, for example, a pat on the back, right? If you're having a bad day at work, maybe that's something that can boost your morale that day, right?
Right.
So that was something that resonated with me, and that's why we began tweaking this a little bit. We reduced a lot of the features. We launched the app again. It still met with a few concrete walls because there was a learning curve, right? And
absolutely.
That was our next learning from this entire exercise, was that this was a process that needed to be explained to people before we gave them the app, which was nothing more than a tool.
Okay.
Right? So the app can't change your behavior. The app is a tool to facilitate that. But in order to change your behavior or to give you that perspective, it's us telling you about our process and how we can help you break past what your limitations are, or break past how you're looking at things. If you're looking at things in one dimension, to look at it from a broader perspective.
So why would someone download this app? In short,
that's the reason why we struggled, right? So we thought that people already knew how to help themselves.
Okay.
And the app was just going to facilitate that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we realized that we needed to help give people this framework of first detaching yourself from certain situations, or detaching yourself from the past, or not looking at yourself as a one-dimensional person, but looking at yourself as a multi-dimensional person, before we gave you the tool to then perform goals, right? So the app is nothing but a goal tool, right? It's about saying that, okay, I'm going to create certain goals in my family life, or I'm going to create a goal with respect to my relationship.
Would you want to?
Yeah, and now I can, I know what steps to take, right? So the app had features like milestones and things of that nature, but people didn't know what to do first. How do we?
Okay. Is this app? I don't know. Is it available for people to download? Do you want to? Can you tell us the name? I can basically find it on and then put a link, if that's okay with you. Or
yeah, I think it's a DNL right now. DNL.
Okay, cool. Okay, so when you're ready, maybe that's when we should do another broadcast. So that'll be cool. Oh, is it ready?
It is ready. I do not know whether the bugs and all that have been.
Then let's wait for it. It's fine. But this is fantastic. I think I have something to look forward to, or we have something to look forward to with you on the next broadcast. I'm hoping that you want to come on and talk us through it, tell us about it. Maybe I'm hoping you'll have other projects that have come on with it. So let's focus on then the Design New Life, and tell me what kind of programs, what exactly do you all do with the foundation that you have right now? or what you have found it with
So
Design
we
Your Life?
started out with our first live program. This was in December, where we invited people for it. And it was a one-day workshop where we looked at everything from educating them about the framework, which is about understanding what your limiting beliefs are. That is one part of it. The second part of it is that creating a limitless belief, okay, basically possibilities. And the third part was about creation, right? So when we're giving them the tools, that is either the app, or we had created a booklet where you can start at least for 21 days creating certain goals within all these particular areas.
Right.
Right. So we did that workshop along with a session on yoga to help them understand the concept of mindfulness. And we also introduced, so my partner, his wife is a naturopathy consultant. So she actually catered for everyone. She created a customized menu so that people were in that same space of, eating right, practicing healthy habits, and at the same time getting that framework to understand how to use these tools that we were giving them.
Right. So how many are you in the team right now?
Right now we're about 6 people.
Okay, nice. That's interesting. And how are you catering to the people right now with the current situation?
So the current situation, we had to kind of move it online, and we did. But given the fact that it was a full day course, we realized that 8 hours is cumbersome for people to be looking at a screen for 8 hours.
Right.
Even if you have activity or exercises or things that will, or yoga in between, it still doesn't change the
It's
fact
not
that
the
it is
same
there.
thing. Absolutely. Yeah.
So we tried that. We tried it a couple of times. We got feedback from people. At the same time, we saw how people were behaving by coming on the platform when the fatigue was kicking in and people were dropping out. So we decided that we need to probably reconfigure the model again and look at how we can break it up into smaller chunks that are easy to digest for people, right? So spread it out and let them consume it probably 1 hour at a time, or over 8 days, or 2 hours over 4 days, something on that nature. That's what we're working on right now.
Okay. Is there a particular audience that you're trying to reach, to a particular age group, or is it open to everyone? How do you all work with that?
Our audience for the two workshops, the two live workshops that we had, the physical workshops, they had, the oldest participant in them was about 60 years old, 65 years old. And
impressive. Nice. Okay.
And the youngest participant were a bunch of students who were in the age group of 15 to 19. Okay, there were 10 students who were sponsored by a young man, and they were in that age group, and they did phenomenally well. They really did well, because they were able to grasp the concepts of this, and they were able to create fantastic goals. You can see them on the website. Some of their testimonials are there.
So can you give us in very short, Gavin, can you just tell us who were they when they came, and how did it change them? Or when you say they did really well, so what was the results? What did you look into that made them stand out?
The core of this is really self-reflection, right? And it's digging deep into your past, understanding certain things that that you might have been carrying for a long time, and detaching yourself from certain habits, right? Whatever it might be. So while we gave them the framework, and we explained from our side also stories of how we were stuck into certain habits, I think it helped them also realize certain things that they were stuck in, right? So I remember there was a girl who said that she was afraid of learning languages, or she wasn't good at learning languages. Okay, but she was always interested in the subject. And she overcame that, and I think she picked up Spanish in the 3 weeks that we gave her for this goal setting thing.
I see. So you're doing follow up even after the program is over. Okay, that's nice.
So we gave them the goal template, right? At that time, the app beta version of the app was out, so some people could do it on the app, but those who could not access the app were doing it in a book, basically just keeping account of what their goals were.
Right,
and
right.
what are we doing every day to facilitate that. And then at the end of the 3 weeks, we kind of had a get together and to see what each one's progress was.
Okay, I have a question for you. So after a year and a half, I'm back into corporate, right? So I'm doing a 3 to 12 midnight job with the American time. So at the moment, what I'm currently facing, or let's say, so let me continue on that line. What I'm facing currently is that I'm not able to, maybe, I'm not sure if time manage is the right question, but I feel that there's a lot, first of all, there's a lot of information coming in. I have to do a lot of things at the same time. Maybe not at the same time, but I need to fill in reports, learn the new stuff, prepare for a checkpoint. Initially, when I joined the company, okay, there was a plan. You need to finish this and get that done. Okay, so that was fine. I knew once it was told me what needed to be done, it was good. But now that I'm on my own, and I think most people might find this difficult, is to see how do you manage, or how do you know how to manage that? How do you prioritize? I don't know. So is there something that you could advise, or you could help me with this? Or is it possibly can be done in a couple of minutes? I don't know. So I'm just saying.
I think you probably said the answer there itself, right? It's priorities. But knowing which one is important, either to you or, since it's the corporate person, a corporate scenario, which one's more important to your boss?
Okay. Yeah.
Or to your client, right?
It could be what I'm suffering with is also the fact that I'm still new with the system, with the processes. So that is also maybe taking time. Certain files uploading take time. I don't know. So maybe it's like we say, a learning curve. You just have to hold on till things kind of get on track. Then you know exactly how to work things out. You can't expect Rome to be built in a day. Would that be correct? So you just need to be patient, I suppose.
Yep. Patience is the most difficult thing, probably.
I suppose. Yeah. Okay. So I'm with Gavin Remedios from Mumbai, India. He is joining me for my 145th broadcast, and we are talking about integrated design. Gavin Remedios is the co-founder of Design New Life, as well as the design lead at KPMG. If you have any kind of questions, please do write into the live chat. I will see that Gavin gets the question or a compliment that you would like to give him. Remember that after the live, we have another 15 minutes, I presume. After the live, the broadcast will still be on. So just in case you want to come in again, listen to it and write in a question, you can definitely do that. I will get the notification and see that Gavin gets that phrase or question or sentence that you write in for him. So Gavin, besides work, as I would say, I see that you are influenced greatly with sport. Can you tell us a little bit more on that?
So sports has been something that has been just as much of a constant in my life as art and design. Right? Right from school, I think from the time I was in the 3rd grade, I was on the hockey and football team. So there were certain habits that were built then that have still stuck with me till today, right? Something as simple as being on time.
Okay.
Probably be 5 minutes early, but I'll not be 5 minutes late. Being a morning person, right? Being able to get up at like 6 o'clock in the morning it's normal for me. It's not something that,
wow,
I
cannot do that. But amazing.
I probably can't stay up in the night all the circuits go loose then.
Right. System
but
shutting down.
yeah,
They kind of
but
get you.
getting up in the morning, no problem whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But even outside just those few habits, which are around discipline, it is some of the other things, right? Like you just now touched upon, we touched upon patience. Sports teaches you about that, right? You can't win overnight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It takes practice, it takes patience, it takes being coachable, it takes
Absolutely.
teamwork.
Mm-hmm.
All these things are a foundation of then building something to succeed, right? And those are the
Absolutely.
principles that I feel are applicable to your work, right? You don't succeed on your own. It's cumulative. It's always somebody else's effort going into your effort, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
your effort contributing to a larger goal. Um, if you think you know everything, then you're probably going to fail really soon. Really.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you should be coachable. You should understand that this, you don't know this, and you don't, like I said, you don't know what you don't know. That's probably the biggest chunk, right? So
I think one needs to be also humble enough to accept the fact that, maybe I don't know something else. Maybe there is something more to learn. I think curiosity, maybe that's also curiosity that is important, no matter how good you are, right?
Yeah, curiosity and the ability to continuously learn.
I was I was just thinking about the phrase "curiosity kills the cat." So over here, I think that phrase has no meaning anymore, according to me.
Curious in the sense that I would say curiosity that feels into you having a much better grasp on observation.
Mm-hmm.
So because that's what helps me, at least as a designer, right? Like I spoke to you about the photography thing,
Right.
right? So it's about you being able to tie the dots together, right? And say that,
Mm-hmm.
okay, how
Mm-hmm.
this is going to be able to relate to that. And for that, you need to be exposed to certain different things to be able to see
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that phrase to "curiosity feeds the cat." How about that? Huh? That sounds much better, I think. So if anybody says something regarding this that you're poking your nose, I'm like, yeah, curiosity feeds the cat. Yeah, have you heard of that? That's a new one to come up with. Sports, I remember that you did say, and you also touched upon behavioral design. So tell me about that a little bit.
So I think we spoke a little bit about the behavioral design when I, explained how that photography assignment turned into tangible insights that a large retailer could use for, um, helping people feel comfortable in the mall, right? And basically recreate the same marketplace atmosphere within a mall, within the confinements of a mall.
Mm-hmm.
So that was basically one example of how behavior can be changed, right? And behavior, it's important to understand the tenets of
The
this.
human behavior. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The other
Okay.
ones are obviously in user experience design, right? So with all the trials and failures, you understand certain things about how people are behaving, right? So whether it's DNL, understanding how a physical workshop works versus an online workshop with fatigue, how that plays into it.
Right.
Whether it's with KPMG, understanding how it plays into user experience with what people want, how do you design for
Mm-hmm.
people
Mm-hmm.
strong mental models, right? So user experience is a science, but there is a reason why certain things are there, right? It reduces the learning curve, right? So when I
Right.
talk about hamburger menu or what does a button look like, it should not look different because somebody likes, like today, Yoran likes the color orange because he's wearing an orange shirt. That does not mean his button on a website should have, be orange and have some texture or something like that, or a crocodile on it.
Yeah. There's enough happening on the t-shirt anyway with that bright bloody orange coming out, Shiv Sena color, as we would say. But yeah. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Sorry, did you finish off with?
Yeah. So I said
Okay.
that all of those things are part of understanding behavior and trying to design so that it eases things for people, right? So that they don't have to think about what it is. You've already done the thinking for them.
I have a question for you regarding this. When we are taking this design and helping them, right, so that they don't need to do that, do you think it makes them, how do you say it? Lazy? Would that be the right word?
No,
They
it
say
would
when
not
you
be
don't
the
use
right.
a certain muscle, it becomes weak, right? So if you don't run, your legs become weak. If you don't think, your brain become weak. I don't know. I'm just trying to
If you're talking about in the case of apps, right, there are a lot of apps that are contributing to our laziness, right? But at
Mhm.
the same time, it's how you look at it, right? It's a glass half full, glass half empty kind of situation, right? It's
Okay.
also providing convenience.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
there is, you can say that an app is, not going to make you go to a bank, for example, and conduct transactions within the confinements of your home. But that also means that it's providing you convenience of not having to get into a car, not have to worry about parking space, not have to worry about how much time you wasted to go
Absolutely.
back and forth, or like
Mm-hmm.
in the case of Mumbai,
Mm-hmm.
worry about whether your car is getting towed or not, right? So there's hardly any
Definitely. Got to
parking
pay
space.
the havaldar some money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
So I look at it that way. It's a half empty, half full kind of.
Right. I think some things, I mean, we are, even if we would want to go back to maybe going to the bank and standing in line and filling paper, the form, not digital, I don't think today it would work either, because life, very frankly, is fast. Life is different. You have to adapt to where we are today. So,
You can't. Yeah, you can't. Like right now, for example, to give you an example, my parents, because they can't go out during the lockdown,
mhm.
they still did everything in the physical environment, right? So if they wanted money from the bank, they don't have a debit card. It's been like some 20 years
Wow.
since I've had my, not 20 years, 15 years since I've had mine now. They don't have one.
Wow.
Okay.
2003.
Um, they will still go to the bank. They will withdraw money physically and
Yeah.
come back, right? If it means paying a phone bill, electricity bill, they'll still go and they'll
Write a
pay.
check.
Yeah.
Yeah. My mom
Okay.
still writes a check. So,
So right
but I
now,
understand that. Yeah.
they, because they can't go and they realize that digitization is a must, sort of, right? But they call me or my brother,
Mm-hmm.
said that, okay, can you please pay this bill,
Pay this bill. Yeah. Yeah.
And um, that's where it's really important, really,
Yeah.
for people to
True.
understand and to adapt, right? Even though
Yep.
it's really hard, it's
Mm-hmm.
really hard for senior citizens to be able to adapt to certain things.
Very true. I think we can't force anything on anyone for that matter. I mean, even in our generation, we think we can do so much, but the person next to us is not even able to do that. So I don't think we can be judgmental regarding that. Some grandmas or some elderly people are able to be on a smartphone, send photos, I don't know, do chats, while others just are not, are just, maybe they just are not wanting to do it, and that's fine. I think it depends on how your life is and what is important. I think as long as you're happy and you're doing well, I think it's fine, right?
Yep. Yep.
So in Design Your Life, Gavin, what's new, what's coming up, what should people look forward to?
I think we should look forward to a new improved version of the course that we had done online, because we are
Okay.
going to be online for the next 5 months at least.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We are also looking at seeing how we can do a customized wellness program for certain corporates or schools,
I
right? So
see. Mm-hmm.
where it's not really up to the individual to invest in themselves, but their organization or their school can invest in its people,
Yeah.
because their people are stressed out right now, obviously, given the state at which we are all in,
Right.
how can some of these aspects be utilized in
Okay, fantastic. And I have given people the link of Design New Life on the live broadcast, so people can definitely refer to it. Would there be any other link that you would want me to share? And should I put it up?
No, right now that's about it. I think
Okay.
everything is there, the testimonials are there, everything.
The new programs, and how much time frame do you think people can expect it to come on?
I think we're doing one in September. On September 6th is the tentative date, which is on relationship management.
Is it already on the website?
It's not yet.
Okay.
It was discussed, and mostly we'll be putting out next week.
Lovely. That's great. That's great. Okay, so people follow up to the website. Keep keep in mind that there's something coming up with Design New Life through Gavin Remedios and the team. Obviously, feel free to reach out to him. If somebody is not able to reach out to Gavin, reach out to me through the broadcast page, through my personal Facebook as well, and I will see that I can connect you both together. Gavin, we are almost out of time. Any final words that you would like to say to the audience, give to the audience for that matter?
So I really don't know where everybody's tuning in from, but I think
from Israel, Romania, maybe from the UK, India, definitely.
Okay. So I think a couple of these we already touched upon, but just to reiterate it is keep learning. Okay. It's really important. There's no such thing as a standard fixed career anymore. You have to explore different avenues and understand what works for you, what doesn't work for you. So keep learning and keep challenging yourself. I think that's probably the two things that I would tell everyone.
Fantastic, Gavin. Thanks a lot for coming on the show. I totally appreciate your time and patience with me. Forgive me if there were a few things that I didn't know, didn't say properly, or maybe cut you in between. I was trying to have the conversation flowing though, but it was really a fantastic pleasure having you, learning something different from you, and hoping the audience as well did enjoy. So thanks a lot, and I wish you a lovely day ahead, and I hope to catch you again. Maybe we can think about how we can do another broadcast from you.
Sure.
Okay, people. So this is Yoran signing off with Gavin Remedios from Mumbai, India. Wishing you all a great day ahead, and see you soon on another Yoran Alive broadcast. Ciao.
Bye.